Hey, it's Don, the Auction Professor here. Today I've got a little something different. I've talked about neon and lettering and things like that I get. I've got a couple sitting here right now. I've got the C letter here, and then I got an A. Let me just pick this up so you can kind of see the actual size on this thing. It's, I think, 24 inches tall, roughly 2 feet tall. It's fairly thick. This is an original one. I purchase these type of things fairly often. Usually you can get them for $5 or $10 in big bulk lots when they're sitting outside. There's sign shops that will run sales to clear out their yard or things like that. If you look around, you can find this stuff. I find it quite often. At least once or twice a month, I could pick this stuff up. I don't always do it just because of space and stuff like that. I know a lot of people may think this is something big and it's going to be heavy to ship. If this works, I could probably sell it locally if I want. I have sold many of these locally. As long as they work. These were made to be outside. This was made probably in the 50s or probably late 50s, maybe into the early 60s-ish, probably for like a grocery store or something. I sell these for parts as well, which maybe somebody doesn't know, but let's just show you an example here on this one. The face on these are screwed in along the sides here. In fact, let me turn it so you can see. Now, I've taken out all the screws. Before I bought these, and I've got, I don't know, 7 or 8 of these right now, various letters, I took these all apart. You want to make sure the insides are in there. Just because it's heavy doesn't mean it's all there. These cases are solid metal, so these are something that's made to last. These also were made to sit outside, so not being waterproof per se, they're still well made so they won't burn out from being outside for any length of time. Now, these are true neons. This is the real deal. This is what I buy. If they're not neons, not vintage, I don't mess with them. If the neon tubes are broken, I don't mess with them. If the unit is gone right here, the actual power unit for it, I don't mess with them. Everything in these looks decent. The posts that hold these up too, there's actually brackets in the back here. Now, I don't know if you're going to be able to see these very well, but there's posts that hold these up. To know if it's old, the newer ones will have plastic post holders, and these are glass. So these are the original, the real deal here. And as you can see, let me hold it up so you can see the insides there. All of it's there. Everything that you want to see is there. It was carefully made. It was strapped together. 9 out of 10 times when I find these sorts of things, they work. As long as all the parts are there and it doesn't look like it was messed around with or mucked with for any length of time. Again, these are made to sit outside for a very long time. I've talked to old timers on stuff just like this, and they tell me that they've had some that have been running for 50+ years, fully running, just like this, that have had nothing done to them. It's a closed unit. As long as the wires are taken care of, the tubes aren't jostled or slammed around or anything, it's going to be just fine. You can actually mail these just as they are. You just pack some. Usually I use the popcorn, the styrofoam popcorn kernels, or peanuts, I guess you would say. Either or. They've got the little peanuts and then the little popcorn style. They're like small little round ones that you can get too. And I'll fill in the inside of this. And then it's just a matter of making a custom box for the outside. If I mail these, and I will mail these. They can go regular post office. I would recommend, though, UPS or Airborne on these, truthfully. Now, the good thing about these, you can actually take the neon tubes out and just sell the tubes on their own if the box is gone. You can also replace this box here with a more modern version of this that will still run this. You can also test these with a regular voltmeter to see that it's throwing out the juice that it's supposed to. This one works. Usually they're just cut off the building and the wires on the back are snipped. You see, it's just been snipped. That's how they all look. That's literally what happens to them all. And then they just throw them down there. Now, I know that there's shops around here that actually run like clearance. They'll clear out their backyards and stuff. When I say yard, I mean like stockyard or sign shop yard or things like that. And around here, a couple times a year, there's several businesses that do this. And if you don't know about it, you probably will miss it. But on this too as well, as I said, I took out all the screws. I saved all those. I have them all for all these units. So save all those little screws that you get because you want all original. This will shine up, believe it or not. I don't know if this is aluminum or stainless steel, but it's probably stainless steel. Now, if you look online, you're going to see that people do sell these tubes, just the tubes to do stuff with. It's not something odd. It's not that strange. I would rather sell it as a unit, of course, and be done with it all at once, truthfully, because you won't have to mess with trying to pack up the glass, the tubes themselves. Now, if they're straight tubes and things like that, I have, in the past, mailed out just tubes. If you look up replacement neon, just type that in as a search, you'll see these. Now, I'm not going to spend the time and show you that. If you're interested in this area, you should spend the time to do that, because there's some good money. This is fun stuff. A lot of people will make like grocery stores in their basement, or old shops in their basement, man caves or whatever, and these are perfect for that. Or if somebody's name is, say, Alice, this is an A for Alice. And people, as I said in the other videos here, they'll collect and get enough to do their whole name on a building or something, or even for signs. These are industrial signs. This cost a lot of money, hundreds of dollars when this was made to produce this. Chances are this was a one-off that they did one at a time to make these. There's weld marks in it. It's just what you want to find. The other one here is the same thing. Let me bring it out over here so you can just take a quick glimpse on it. I will open up the case on it. Again, I took off the lids to make sure that everything was here. Again, you can see it's got the box. The tubes are all intact. This one works too, believe it or not. Most of the time these work, and I'm not exaggerating. Probably maybe close to 7, 8, even sometimes 9 out of 10 will work right off the bat. Again, as long as they've been taken care of. These were sitting outside too, mind you, and they're made to be sitting outside because they were on a wall in a building for a very long time, I would say. So again, look these up. Spend a few minutes if you're interested in this type of thing and look it up. In almost every town that I've lived in, there have been places that you could repair neon fairly cheap. I would be hard-pressed to say that there wouldn't be one in your area. There should be one most areas, because people fix the beer neon signs and stuff for restaurants and hotels and things like that. That's a thriving industry, and if you look, you'll see pieces and parts for those. You can actually, as I said, replace these units if it doesn't work. You can hardwire this with a plug and use this to be plugged into the wall also. So there's so many options to use these for. Architectural pieces. Again, these will sell on Craigslist, believe it or not, or on Facebook Marketplace. I don't mess with Facebook Marketplace too much, but I have sold some on Craigslist in the past. Meet in a public place, the whole works. Pieces or parts. Say I spend $5 or $10, which is what I spent on most all the letters I get like this. I get them from the same place almost all the time. You can actually buy the transformer or the power unit out of these on eBay, or you can take the used version out here if the tubes are broken. You don't want to mess with having it fixed, or it's just not one that's worth being fixed. And these units sometimes will sell for $40 and $50 as long as you test them and you know they work. Even though they're old and used, they still have a value. People like the original ones here. I don't think you can fix these units in here, but it's all legit. Everything is the way it should be. Again, know at least something about electronics to be able to test that the current goes through that. Now, I usually carry a multimeter in my car, at least when I'm going to picks like this with maybe restaurant or hotel supply stuff. And I've talked about that too, where I go in with other people and we buy stuff like this. This is the perfect example of these. There's many different sources to get these besides that. I've run into neon signs at like a restaurant going out of business sale. I've seen them at garage sales. I see them at flea markets, local live auctions for sure, 100%. Sometimes I've just seen the transformers, the power supply units for these in big boxes, sealed at a live auction, and they went for nothing, and I picked them up for, a steal. These go on average, some of these can go up for a couple $100, the right unit. Now this one isn't that much. You can get a used or a decent working one for 20 or 30 and fix it yourself if that's the case, as long as the bulbs are still good. And you can test the bulbs at your house. We have a voltage regulator for power supply, so we can adjust the power supply to run these, so I know they work. If you get into these a lot, that would be the recommendation on these. But I love this sort of thing. I'll maybe on another video show you some of the nicer neons that we have. I've got a huge sign that's neon that I put together from 3 other signs. So, this stuff is the bomb if you like this sort of thing. If you're even semi-handy, you can at least get the electronics working as long as the tubes aren't broken. As many times when we find these, they were just pulled down because they changed ownership or the store went out of business or something. So these were pulled down while they were working. So they weren't pulled down because they were damaged. They were just pulled down because of name change or something along that line. So, and I'm telling you that if you test a lot of these, you're going to find the same fact that As long as they're from a shop or something like that, that most of the time they still work. So anyway, hopefully that gave you some ideas on these. I know this isn't for everybody, but they sell incredibly well. The right ones, working ones the key. If you look on eBay, you'll find smaller versions of this that don't sell for 30, 40, 50 bucks, but they're not working. They don't show them working. Working neon, you can get 125, 150 on average for these if you let them ride. Usually they don't sit very long either, especially if they're local. A bar or a restaurant might want them for decor. Somebody might want them for their house or their pool hall room or something along that line. They do sell, and there's many different markets for these. But that's what I have for you today. Hopefully that gave you some ideas and some thoughts. If you enjoyed the video, please hit that like button down below. You can also hit the bell icon to be notified if I post new content or go live. Subscribe and tell a friend.